keep on digging, baby.
Keep on digging.
Well, this last segment is where we normally get into the UFL stuff, but no news to report right now. The season starts later this month, so we will get into it later then. But let's get into our mock drafts. So we did our mock drafts last week, and we'll put those up on the screen so everyone can see. These are our mock drafts 1.0. And very interesting. We also had the same 1, 2, 3. We had a lot more matching in this one than we do in this year's. So I want to real quick. I have to pull it up.
We got the same. Let me see.
So we got, yeah, this is last week's. So I'm going to pull up this week's now, which is our 2.0 mock draft. And there is our 2.0 mock drafts. A lot of surprises here, I think, on both of ours. Definitely taking different routes. MG, we will let you go first and let you explain your mock draft, sir.
So I was confused on where to go. So on the mock draft thing we use, they do allow for trades, but I think you got to be signed in because it didn't let me do them. So maybe we'll work on that.
Okay.
Because I was thinking about New York possibly wanting to move up.
The Jets or the Giants? There's two New York teams, bud.
Yeah, sorry, the Giants. The Giants.
Okay.
Makes a lot of sense. But then I started thinking about what do these teams really need? And I said, okay, Cam Ward, still going to go number 1 for me. Then I have Shedeur Sanders because I think they are going to take a quarterback. As of right now, I know they signed what's his face, but I think Cleveland might do that. We'll see. You know, there's the whole Dion thing involved there, but Mason Graham, I really liked him at Michigan. He's a force. And you have what's the dude from Oregon? Thibodeau. Yeah. That could make the Giants defense scary. Travis Hunter at 4. At some point they need a quarterback. They need a quarterback, cornerback and a wide receiver. Just so happens you get both. Will Campbell, offensive tackle for the Jags. What's his face some protection. Tenoria McMillan. So I have Trevor Lawrence. I'm sorry. I can't say this guy's name very well, but Tenoria McMillan. I have you guys.
I think you got that right.
Did I?
Yeah,
Victoria?
I think you said that right. So round of applause for MG. Get it.
Yes. So you got your receiver.
Yeah.
So I'm fine. I don't know. Obviously, everybody seems to be taking Ashton Jeanty there for some odd reason. You know, I'm not a fan. I don't know how he's gonna project out. I will get to that at the end here when we get into my little whatever rant we call it. And then Shamir Stewart, Carolina, Will Johnson to the Saints from Michigan, and then a couple more here. Anything stand out? And I finally did put Ashton Jeanty to Seattle. They're going to need a running back now.
Okay.
And Seattle always seems to do good with backs, right? So we'll see. I'm not going to go through all of these. The ones that really stand out, and the one I left off, Loveland from Michigan. He's not in my first round. Just
interesting.
And it had to needs. I was like, none of these teams need a tight end. They all need edge. A lot of them need tackles. And there's very similar needs in this middle, from 20 on. So that's that. I have my Lions taking Donovan Izarico. I probably screwed that up. An edge from Boston College. So, and then a lot of interesting ones in here. I have the Chiefs taking a defensive tackle. Because I think we're on the last of the Chris Jones years, so they're going to want to start plug in that hole. Yeah, that's all I got. Everyone can see the full list if they watch the episode, but that's what I got.
And we'll tweet it out at IDGA Football Pod on all social media. You can follow us there and see these tweeted out. I shall get into my 2.0 now, MG.
Yes, sir.
Boom. So, right off the back, I come with a shocker. So,
yeah, I see that.
So here's my rationale. So my initial thought process was for the Browns, right? The Browns have been telling everybody that they're drafting a quarterback, which would make me believe, because of the quarterback situation, that they're not really drafting the quarterback, that they're throwing up smoke screens to the media because they want somebody that they think Tennessee wants, and the only way for them to get them is to make everybody that needs a quarterback think they're taking a quarterback, so that those teams will trade up to Tennessee spot at number 1, take a quarterback, which will allow whoever they think Tennessee is going to get to fall into their laps. That was my original process of thinking. But then I said, I don't know what's happening with the quarterbacks. All the quarterback needy teams are seemingly finding quarterbacks right now, and in a draft class where the quarterbacks aren't that strong, you might not need to trade up to get a quarterback. So that's where we landed on my 2.0 mock draft. I have Travis Hunter being my number 1 pick. The Tennessee Titans have come out from day one and said they're not drafting a quarterback. They are drafting a generational player, whoever that may be. Who else is generational besides Travis Hunter? He plays cornerback. He plays wide receiver, who get drafted as a cornerback because they make less money. But what do the Titans need? Both a wide receiver and cornerback. We were thinking that same thing with just where with you put
team.
Just with a different team. And I went with the team that had the pick quicker. So that's why I have Travis Hunter at number 2. Now, where we are right now in life, because I'm not convinced that the Browns are not taking a quarterback yet, I'm throwing Cam Ward there. Because the Giants have yet to address the quarterback situation in free agency, I scheduled Shedeur Sanders to them. I don't think if they don't get a quarterback, if Rodgers goes to the Steelers and Russ doesn't go to the Giants, then they're obviously not going to pass up on Shedeur Sanders if he's
still
there.
It's still a good pick, regardless.
Yeah,
like I said, he could sit for a while.
That too, but if you're the Giants and you're Dable and Steichen, or I forget the GM for the Giants, but they're on the hot seat if they don't win this season. So at that point, if you have your quarterback to get you through the season and you're not sold on Shedeur, pick the best player available is what I would do. That gets Abdul Carter sliding down to 4. I don't think Vrabel passes on Abdul Carter. Mason Graham, I think, goes to Jacksonville, as I had on my last mock draft. Now the Raiders, I have them picking
changed.
Michigan man, cornerback Will Johnson. Why did I make this change? Well, I just told you earlier. The Packers took away our best cornerback in free agency. I wanted Nate Hobbs. I needed Nate Hobbs to re-sign. He didn't. So now the Raiders' depth at cornerback is slim. Who else to fill that role than the Michigan man? His NFL comp is J.C. Horn, and I think Will Johnson will look beautiful in the silver
He's
and
really
black.
Good. Although he didn't play his senior year, he is really, really good.
Yeah, and I think if he's on the board, the Pete Carroll, defensive-minded coach.
Yep.
You know, I think at this point, our offense is kind of pretty set. I think the running back class is deep enough. If I'm the Raiders, I'm eyeing 2 potential running backs, and that is Cam Skattebo and Kyle Monangai. Yes, I'm biased because I'm an Arizona State alum and a Rutgers fan. So, yes, I picked the running back from each of those programs, but they're good fucking running backs that'll be their 3rd, 4th, 5th round potentially. I think the Raiders ultimately draft another Will at quarterback. I think Will Howard gets drafted in the 3rd round by the Raiders at quarterback because Chip Kelly's there. He could sit behind Geno Smith. You have your quarterback of the future. You have your quarterback to bridge to him, and you're all set and you're ready to rock and roll. Some other things that I have here, Ashton Jeanty. Doesn't that just seem like a Jerry Jones pick?
Yeah, I told you that last week.
That
I
just
changed him. I had him last week there.
It just feels like it's a Jerry Jones pick, and I'm sold on that. Ashton Jeanty, I got going to the Cowboys. Matthew Golden, wide receiver, Texas. We both have slotted at number 16 to the Cardinals, so that's one of our matches. Another one of our matches, linebacker. We actually have 3 in a row right here, with Jalen Walker to linebacker from Georgia going to Tampa, Jahad Campbell, a linebacker going from Bama going to Denver, and Josh Simmons, the offensive tackle from Ohio State, going to Pittsburgh. So we hit those 3 back to back to back. One of the guys you mentioned you left off, Costin Loveland, your boy from Michigan, joining back with his head coach.
That's actually a no-brainer. The reason why I didn't take him is because it wasn't, for whatever reason, it's not a need for the Chargers right now. So I left him off, and then he just
maybe not on where they showed it there, but I use other websites to compile my mock draft like a real analyst. MG, you should get on board.
Yes. I'm so probably why my fantasy team blows.
Now, if it wasn't for that one, we would actually have 5 in a row because we both have Green Bay picking the wide receiver from Ohio State, Emeka Egbuka, which I think I said that right. I actually have somebody different going to your Detroit Lions. I have Shavon
I don't love
Revel,
but
cornerback, East Carolina. Once again, I went with this because I'll be honest with you. I went for this because I forgot you guys drafted Terrion Arnold last year. But my thought process was you guys were so beat up on your defense that you just need the depth. And if there's a good cornerback on the board, I think you could take him. But I also think that the best edge rusher on the board could also take.
Yeah, the depth was really bad there. So
So that was my thought process. You mentioned Kansas City, Xavier Watts, safety, Notre Dame. 2 reasons why I think he goes to the Chiefs. 1, Xavier Watts sounds like a name that I could hate. And I hate anybody that plays for the Chiefs. So that's reason number 1. Reason number 2, which is more realistic reason, they lost Justin Reed today in free agency. I forgot where. I think he went to the Saints. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he went to the Saints. He's going to NOLA. Wish he was going to Vegas. But they lost their starting safety. So what better way to replace him than Xavier Watts? And then Walter Nolan. You get a defensive tackle to add to that defensive line in Philly. They lost so many pieces on that defense to free agency and just releasing people. So I think they go back to the well and try to beef up their defensive line again with Walter Nolan. And that is my mock draft. And I'll put both of ours back on the screen right there so you can see. MG, do you have any reactions to mine? Do you like mine? Do you hate it? What say you?
Well, all in all, I like yours. Like I said, for me, my team, a corner may still be a need. You said for depth, but I really think edge is the way to go there. Now, if you're not going to go any other way, there's something I noticed about our drafts is there's not a lot of guards. I think guards are going to fly off in round 2. Guards and centers. Because that's a need for us as well, just to add more depth, and we're gonna be replacing some starters soon. So, for me, that's where I go. But yours, all in all, I'm trying to think if there's one I don't hate or don't that stands out at me. I just don't know. I've seen Abdul Carter everywhere. I've seen him as far back as like 8 in some mock drafts. But he's a wild card. If it isn't for need, he's the first guy off the board. But we will see. So
it's a really weird draft class for sure. And with your pick with McMillan going to the Raiders, Arizona, the wide receiver out of Arizona. Once again, I think Tyler Lockett is in the cards for Vegas. You have Jacoby Myers, who didn't drop a ball last year. You have Trey Tucker in the slot, who's solid. You have Brock Bowers, who's basically a wide receiver playing tight end. The Raiders have their other tight end, Michael Mayer, on the trade blocks, according to the rumor wires. So that right there tells me they're not pressed to get a wide receiver. So I'm going to where they need somebody better, which is why I went with your Michigan man, Will Johnson there. FG, that wraps up our mock drafts.